Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Sachi Nandan Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe, Vrishabhanu Nandini Radhe, Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Garangan Havika Girihari Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Radha Gopinath Ju Ki Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari Ki Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Om Agnatimirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Taralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Angashyamala Chaturvi Abhito Mandi Kritendi Varam Jadyam Jagutam Rochisam Vihatam Patambarasya Shriyam Shriyam Vrindavan Vilasinam Hridila Sattamobi Amodaram Radhaskanda Nivochvala Bhujam Dayema Damodaram Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptas Chakarmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karana Varadram Tato Mamanastikatyena Chapi. I first of all offer millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarazara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And the same again, millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our beloved Nitya Leela Pravishta Om, Asto Tarazara Shishimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, Dandavat pranams. So, continuing with our Bhramara Gita, and its relish of divine madness in intense separation that practically hasn't been exhibited anywhere else to this degree in the Bhagavatam. Its intensity is profound. So we've just reached the end of Sri Radha's Divyan Mad, this mood of Mohan, Gurna, or Chitra Jalpa, these mad, ecstatic talks in her indescribable state of ecstasy. So for the last couple of nights we were appreciating this Achintya Bhav, that we can't actually understand these moods. How can we? But we can appreciate them and honor them and glorify them, because this is our goal, this is our path, to hear about them. Actually, I was just reflecting today how fortunate we are to hear these, this whole pastime just in one sort of shot. And I'm not elaborating, I'm not moving away from the actual verses, so you're hearing the whole Bhramara Gita. Sometimes people will speak on the Bhramara Gita, but it may not be complete with all the different verses and everything in it. So this is the full, complete, verse by verse. Now, we've reached this stage where Uddhava, in verse 22, now begins to give his messages. And initially, he's been so astonished and amazed at the intensity and depth of the gopis' moods of separation, this Mohan Bhav. He never could have remotely imagined this. So now in verse 23, he begins to praise the gopis' great fortune, just as he praised Nanda Baba and Yashoda for their high prem. When he was with Nanda and Yashoda, he was seeing how their prem was so much more than Devaki or Vasudeva in Dwarka or Mathura. And now this prem of the gopis is even more remarkable to him. And he's saying that this performance of devotional service pleases Krishna so much, which is our life and soul, our goal, to please the Lord. Now, in verse 25, it's saying very beautifully that the gopis brought the most excellent standard of love to this world. So it's as if the gopis are separate from Krishna in a sense, because they're his beloveds and he's so much attached and attracted to them. But they have brought this excellence, this excellent love to this world to show. So all of these pastimes are demonstrating the superlative nature of this love. And it's saying that in the future, all will most certainly benefit from hearing about the gopis' intensity of praying for Krishna in their separation mood. As we discussed the other day, how in that depth of separation, the intensity of meeting and union is present. Gurudev has described very clearly there. So we're understanding that dynamic. And Uddhava is saying how you've left everything. He's fully appreciative that they've left all their reputation, their shame, their shyness, all of a woman's most valuable qualities. And they've just surrendered, they've given all this to Krishna. Then he says, by showing me your separation mood, you've shown me great mercy. He's feeling very grateful to have received and seen, have witnessed to this. And then he's saying this Mahabhav spreads to all, just as the sun spreads its heat, or the moon its coolness. So by witnessing this height of affection for Krishna, the whole world is being benefited. No one else has what you have. Uddhava is praising them directly. This is not what the gopis want to hear at all. But he can't help himself doing like this. And then he begins his messages. And as the same mood of the messages to Nanda Baba, he's glorifying the Aishwarya aspect of Krishna. And he says that Krishna is saying that I am the soul of the universe and present in everything. So Uddhava is trying to pacify their separation. Uddhava firmly believes that if we have this gyan, this understanding of Aishwarya, then surely all peace and happiness will come in the heart. That this is like a Brahma Jnani's realization. What's that? Brahma Bhuta Prasanatmana Sochati na Kanchati. When we are in that Brahman realized situation, then of course everything is completely peaceful. So he's thinking, well, nothing else is going to satisfy. This is going to satisfy. He doesn't understand that there is something else beyond this. He understands there is, but he can't, with his mind and heart and what he's seen, he can't figure out what that is. So he's doing his duty, honoring Krishna as a messenger, and he's delivering this sort of message. And then it's saying that Uddhava witnesses now that his Gyan Yoga is incinerated by the gopis' praying. The same way that the Karma Yoga, or the lustful feelings of the gopis, was burnt at the beginning of Rasa Leela. So when the gopis came with the heat of calm, it was not calm, it was pure, unadulterated prem, but still it looked like calm. And in that circumstance, it seemed and appeared that Krishna incinerated that by pacifying the gopis at that point. So this Gyan Yoga is not even affecting the gopis. And then the gopis consider that fools consider that Krishna gave the gopis knowledge so they could be liberated. The gopis are because Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in all the verses, we're all familiar with his commentaries. He writes, Krishna says this, the gopis are saying, he makes these whole conversations, in his commentary about certain verses. Many of the verses in the 10th canto, or all these commentaries that he is seeing in his trance. When Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is writing, this is called Samodaya Bhasya. He's writing his commentary in complete trance, and in his trance, he's seeing this conversation between Krishna and the gopis. And the gopis are saying that they're accusing Uddhava, saying that, you think that Krishna has given us this knowledge, and then we've become liberated. Krishna cheats the non-devotees, like Mohini with the demons. So this idea of Krishna being a cheater is very prominent in the hearts of the gopis. Actually, Krishna is saying that their atmas are with him in Mathura, just as his atma is with them. And Krishna is taking shelter they are taking shelter in Krishna's mind, life air, and intelligence, and senses and words. Therefore, he's always with you. Uddhava is speaking like this. He's speaking this Atma Gyan. He's speaking to the gopis in this way. And he's saying that I am the substratum of all. Krishna is saying, this is his message, I am the substratum of all. Therefore, I am never away from you. The Supersoul is always distinct from material bodies. Even in sleep, deep sleep or wakefulness, the Supersoul is still present. And the mind control helps us to recognize this. So it's like what we've been discussing this morning, actually. We were talking, so many chapters are actually aimed at controlling the senses, controlling the mind. This is Atma Gyan. So we've been discussing that in a very sort of intense way in the morning. And now, Uddhava, he's saying these things to the gopis, hoping to pacify their separation mood. All the scriptures proclaim that mind control is prominent. The reason he left, Krishna is saying, was to intensify your separation and draw you closer to me. Now the gopis, they don't accept this Brahma Gyan talk. Krishna says the gopis are very close to his mind. But the gopis are not accepting this. When her lover is far away, a woman thinks of him more than when he is present before her. This is the direct translation of the verse that I've written here. So we understand that aspect of separation. Then again, the gopis are rejecting Uddhava's messages. And now, in text 37, it refers to the gopis who were locked in their homes and were not able to come to the Rasa Leela. Uddhava is referring to this example, and he is saying that similarly, I will come to you as I came to those gopis who were locked in their homes. Just as those gopis, they couldn't break out, and then they went into a heightened state of meditation, and they embraced Krishna within their hearts. Now Uddhava is relaying that actually you should do the same now. You should do the same like those gopis who were locked in their homes. And the gopis, of course, they understood what happened to those gopis who were locked in their rooms. So they're relating to this. They can relate to this example because those gopis who were locked in their rooms, they saw them afterwards and they saw that they had embraced, in fact, Krishna, even though they had remained in their homes. Now the gopis speak. They're going to respond now. There's been like 10, 12 verses that Uddhava has just spoken, and now the gopis are going to speak. and they say it is good that Kamsa was killed. But almost straight away, the gopis are starting to inquire with jealousy about the Mathura women. Straight away, immediately they're beginning, because that's what's prominent. That's the obstruction that they see to them being with Krishna, that Krishna has become attracted to the Mathuravasis. The gopis imply that Krishna has in fact left them for the Mathura women. The gopis are still very jealous of the Mathura women. Does he talk ever about their good or even bad qualities to the Mathuravasis? They want to know what's going on in Mathura. You know, that's all they really want to know, because they have this mood of rishya, this mood of envy, jealousy towards the Mathura women. And then they say, one gopi says, maybe he will come back and bring us back to life. And then another gopi says, why should Krishna come back here? What has he got here? It's just like, you know, we're just village girls. What have we got to offer Krishna? So they're going in this, contrasting like this. These are like Sri Radha's Divyanmad talks, not to the same intensity, but still they are of a very similar nature. We cannot satisfy him. He's already self-satisfied, they're thinking. We should give him up, but we can't. Krishna enjoyed Braj. They cannot forget Krishna. And there's 3 verses now that express this. They say that his footprints are everywhere. Our hearts are stolen by him. His walking, his smiles, his words. How can we forget him? We're trying to forget him, but how can we forget him? I think the sadhak really gets an impression of the sweetness of Krishna by appreciating the depths of the gopis' moods. At this point, they're beside themselves because Uddhava hasn't pacified them. Now, in this verse 52, they begin very extreme, pitiful calling out directly to Mathura, ignoring Uddhava completely. This is what they did previously when Uddhava first arrived. They welcomed him and so on, and then just unabashed and unashamed, they began to loudly call from their hearts and describe so many pastimes of Krishna. They allowed themselves just to immerse themselves in an ocean of remembrance of Krishna. And now this beautiful verse that Janaki was quoting to me last night. Hey Nata, hey Ram Nata, Braja Natara, Nashan Magnam, Udara Govinda Golokam, Brijanavat. This verse. And this is calling out, O Master of the Goddess of Fortune, O Master of Braj, O Destroyer of all suffering, Govinda, please lift your Gokul out of the ocean of distress in which it is drowning. So it seems that Uddhava's attempt to pacify them has increased their intensity of separation, in fact, which is exactly what Krishna predicted would happen if he went back directly, because he would have to leave again if he hadn't finished his work annihilating all the other demons. So this is why Krishna could not go back. And exactly as he thought would happen has already happened. So they've been touched by Uddhava's mood and his looks so much, and his remembrances of Krishna. It's as if Krishna has come in another form to them. So this reaction, this cry has reached its pinnacle. We gopis need to be mastered also. Braja needs your shelter. Come now before us, before we drown. Enough of these messengers. They've had enough. They want Krishna to come back. And Shukadeva Goswami says that Uddhava's messages relieved them somewhat. Just the fact that Krishna had taken the trouble to send Uddhava. Jai, Premaras Ji ki Jai, Radhe Radhe. just that Krishna had taken the trouble to actually send back. So they were something pacified. And Sukadeva Goswami is commenting on this, that Uddhava's messages relieved them somewhat. And then they began to honor Uddhava like Krishna. And then it's described that Uddhava stays several months in Gokul, giving pleasure to all the residents. And one can understand then that Uddhava gave the gopis many messages and relieved them. This is the appreciation of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It's not in the direct translation. It's his commentary. In his commentary, he begins to describe even more most confidential messages, which I described a little bit to you last night, but I'll deliver the whole message for our relish now. So now Uddhava is saying, now close your eyes. You are all dearer to me than my life. He's saying on behalf of Krishna, I will now deliver you from separation. See my mystic power. So Krishna is directly saying this through the lips of Uddhava. Now it's described, in a flash of a second, Yogamaya compressed millions of years into a single moment. All the Rasa Leela manifested, playing dice, drinking honey liquor, water sports, swing pastimes. All of these pastimes happened. They were compressed in time, in a flash. It's saying here that Uddhava paused a moment and told them, open your eyes. And they felt new birth and new bliss. During that time, as I described yesterday, it was a time frame of 4 billion years. Just in the closing of their eyes for a moment. Uddhava told them to close their eyes. He paused for a moment, and then he told them to open their eyes. And during that time frame, it's describing Yogamaya had compressed the entire Rasa Leela pastimes. So then the gopis are satisfied. This has satisfied them. This is when it takes the heat out of their separation for a moment, and they're able to continue with their lives for some more years. Then Krishna said that I want to come to Braj, but I can't. And then the gopis, again they start to think, well, maybe he just loves the Mathuravasis. But still the gopis' separation has been completely pacified for this moment of time. It's not for the next, because Krishna leaves Braj for 100 years. He's away for 100 years, we can imagine, you know, and each moment, yugayitam nimishena, chakshusham, sunyayitam, that each moment seems like 1,000,000 years. They were actually away altogether. Krishna was away for 36,500 nights in our time. That's 100 years. So 36,000 nights, and every night was like torturous, intense pain for them. But at this moment, due to Krishna's mercy, and of course, to give us, his devotees, a chance to have a window into the extremity of their separation moods. We have to contemplate these topics. We have to try and develop. We are praying to have a hunger to hear these topics, to have a thirst to hear them, the sweetness of their relish. This is our prayojan. The gopis' separation is completely pacified. The gopis felt very grateful for these messages. Otherwise, they would have left their bodies. All the days seemed like a moment in Braj, with Uddhava present. Krishna bestowed and empowered Uddhava to give bliss to the Brijabasis, and thus they became somewhat satisfied. Uddhava, inspired by Braj, and there's many descriptions of his inspiration while he was in Braj, And he praises the gopis again and again, glorifying them. So Gurudev has spoken so much on this. He's spoken so many times. I mean, how many times have we heard this example of somebody with a hat on their back and they're looking up and then the hat drops off? Gurudev said it so many times. He was looking at the height of the gopis praying and his hat fell off. I mean, it's an expression, I think it's an Indian expression that they use commonly. It's not used in English so much. But Gurudev would regularly quote that. He would regularly say that about Uddhava's astonishment. But again, the gopis, they're feeling lowly because they're feeling, it's described, that they've taken birth as women and that they're also cowherds and they're also paramours. They're not wives of Krishna, they're paramours. So it's described for these three reasons. They feel somewhat lowly is the word that's used, or humbled. They're not feeling slightly, remotely proud of their love. This is an exceptional quality. Their humility is the most extreme in this prem that they hold. And now they start to describe three types of adulterous women to try to reconcile their own condition. And the first type is a woman who enjoys a husband as well as a lover. So this is completely condemned. And she's unfaithful to both. But this is a type of paramour. So they're analyzing this. They're looking at this is what the gopis are talking about. They're talking about their own condition, and they're feeling their own condition to be pitiful, even though it's the most extreme high. And then the second type of adulterous women are those who abandon their husband and enjoy a lover. This is also condemned. Now, they have abandoned their husband and they enjoy with Krishna. And somehow when they talk about it like this, in this association with each other, they feel some pacified. Because Krishna ultimately is the husband of all. He's the husband of all the gopis, ultimately. So it pacifies them. They're trying to pacify their moods here. And then Uddhava says, when Krishna was dancing with the gopis in Rasa Lila, the gopis embraced by the arms of the Lord. This transcendental favor was never bestowed upon the goddess of fortune and others of the spiritual world. Indeed, never anything imagined by the most beautiful heavenly girls, what to speak of worldly women. So this is a very famous verse. This is verse 60 in this chapter. And even Lakshmi Dev, nobody had had the fortune that they had had. Just prior to this, they're condemning themselves. And at the next moment, Uddhava, he praises them. So it's balancing them somehow. This is on behalf of Krishna. They've condemned themselves because they feel wretched that Krishna has left. Surely Krishna doesn't love us because he's left. There can be no other reason for that. Because of the intensity of their previous exchanges, how can he just leave like that? He must have met somebody else who's pleasing him more. So these are the feelings that are coming up. Krishna is always above morality, on the highest platform of purity. And this verse establishes the supreme position of the gopis receiving Krishna's loving embraces. Also, it's described in scripture that this Rasa Lila dance is the crest jewel of all Krishna's pastimes. It's nirmala, it's most sacred, most pure. So it's very important for the devotees to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings and Gurudev's instructions to fully appreciate this parakiya bhav, to understand what it is and how to explain it to others. Because we are sitting here going to carry this torchlight through into the world. Gurudev has given us, he's lighted the lamp. Now we have to understand this topic deeply. we should regularly take shelter of this amazing chapter in the Bhagavatam and the other Gits, this Venu Gita, Yugal Gita, Pranaya Gita, Gopi Gita. Yes, we have to take, and we should discuss with ourselves and try and understand this intensity so that we can explain it clearly and lucidly to others who perhaps doubt the morality of, just as Parikshit Maharaj did at the end of the whole Rasa Leela chapters. And then Uddhava says this very beautiful verse, Asam aho charanarenu jusa maham shyam. I can't remember the verses very well, but this is a very beautiful verse. I'll read it to you. I get it. What number is it? Oh, 61. Asamaho charana renu jusam aham shyam vrindavane kim api guna luto sudinam ya dusyadam svajanam arya patam chahitva bejur mukunda padavim shudvya. Yes. Janaki, she wanted to hear these verses last night. The gopis of Vrindavan, the translation of this, the gopis of Vrindavan have given up the association of their husbands, sons, and other family members, who were very difficult to give up, and they have forsaken the path of chastity to take shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. All Uddhava can do is praise them. All he can do is glorify them. He can't pacify them anymore. Krishna, shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda Krishna, which one should search for by Vedic knowledge. Oh, let me be fortunate enough to be one of the bushes, creepers, or herbs in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them and bless them with the dust of their lotus feet. So this is Uddhava's prayer. He no longer wants to, it's described that he doesn't want to attain gopi prem. He actually feels that now, after witnessing the gopis, that is far too high, that he can never actually experience that same prem that the gopis have for Krishna. So his desire now is just to become the recipient of receiving their foot dust. Very sweet sentiment. His ambition and desire to experience that gopis prem. So this is a powerful expression of deep eagerness and humility, is how Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has interpreted this verse. Deep eagerness and humility. These are the qualities that the sadhak wants to imbibe so much. So we're seeing this mood come out of Uddhava. This is such a rich pastime. All, Brahma, Shiva, Lakshmi, worship those feet. Yet the gopis embraced those feet on their breasts. That Mahabhav is not accessible to Lakshmi or others. And then there's another very beautiful verse here. There's many special verses that Gurudev would quote regularly. This Vande Nanda Rajashrinam Padarenum Abhikshana Vasham Harikatot Gitam Punati Bhuvanatrayam. I repeatedly offer my respects to the dust from the feet of the women of Nanda Maharaj's cowherd village. When these gopis loudly chant the glories of Sri Krishna, the vibration purifies the three worlds. That's a very beautiful verse. That's very wonderful. Now Krishna is saying here, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur interjects, how dear Uddhava is to Krishna. He's saying, among all the devotees, I am Uddhava. So we're seeing this relationship of Krishna with Uddhava, at the same time Uddhava's feelings towards Krishna's beloveds. And Krishna is also saying that Uddhava is not less than myself. Even though Uddhava has this mood of Aishwarya Gyan in seeing Krishna. It's a remarkable pastime because it's almost like Aishwarya and Madhurya are meeting in their most intense circumstances. Uddhava is carrying that mood of Aishwarya, We described right at the very beginning how when Uddhava first comes into Braj, he sees it just as it was when Krishna was there. And then Krishna steps out of the doorway, and Uddhava bows down, and when he gets up, it's all completely devastation, separation. Because no one bows down to Krishna in Braj. So you have this, like, contradiction or these, incompatible, yes. It would appear totally incompatible that you have these two moods simultaneously, and yet they're woven in by Shukadeva Goswami for our relish and taste. It's not like he's writing in some sort of sahajya type or imitation mood. It's so profound. By the way, we're not taking any questions or comments. I've decided.
I was going to speak really loud.
Too bad. No. I had to think about what happened this morning, and I decided it was better just to let me deliver this, and at the end we can make any comments. Anyway, that's what I had to. I meant to say at the beginning, but I forgot. So, Krishna is glorifying Uddhava here. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur interjects in his commentary to demonstrate just how dear Uddhava is. It's like heightening again this Aishwarya mood almost. When you're sitting in a pool of Madhurya and you have this personality, Uddhava, and then Uddhava leaves Braj. After several months, he only originally went there for a few days, was his intention. But several months, that's like 2 or 3 seasons practically, he remained there, immersed in astonishment at the gopis' height of their prema. And his resultant meditation was just to take their dust and become a bush. And then it's described that Uddhava leaves. And then the Brijvasis, they offer so many objects for Krishna, for Uddhava to take back with him. And then they say, may we always perform devotional service. They've been a little influenced by Uddhava. Nanda Baba and Yashoda, Nanda in particular, because Uddhava was saying, well, if you perform devotional service, Krishna must come back. So Nanda Baba's really thought about that. And also, the gopis have also thought about that. They're also thinking, well, we should perform some devotional service. This is actually what's going to bring Krishna back. So they're saying to Uddhava, we're going to perform devotional service, as if they're not already. May all our activities please Krishna. Only Krishna, 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 Krishna is the center, the only focus. And Nanda then is overcome by feelings of remorse and great humility. And he begins to weep. And he says, we never did enough for Krishna. We actually should have pleased him more. This is due to excessive humility. He's taken shelter of Dasyabhav. This is how Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur describes that. He's in Vatsalyabhav, and he's taken shelter of Dasyabhav out of extreme humility. It's astonishing, actually, what his feelings are. And then Uddhava returns to Mathura. And Shukadeva Goswami says that Shukadeva Goswami is interjecting here. He says, well, if Krishna is protecting Mathura, why is he not protecting Braj? Why is he letting Braj burn in this fire of devastation, of separation? And then Krishna and Mathura, then Krishna and the Mathuravasis receive Uddhava and his gifts. And then Uddhava begins to describe the devotion of Braj to the Mathuravasis. he describes how Nanda has actually said that a message to Krishna. He says, "O Krishna, everyone in Gokul has turned white in separation from you. This has even fooled Narad to mistake that Gokul has become Svetadweep." He wants to convey a picture. They've all turned completely pale in separation. And even Narad thinks it's Svetadweep because everyone's looking white. They're no longer their golden colors. Then Krishna, it's described, cries very loudly in the assembly, hearing of Nanda and Yashoda's love for him. He stays up all night, burning in a fever of separation from Radhika. When Uddhava tells the messages in a secluded place, this is the end of this chapter. So that's the conclusion when he goes back. Krishna knew that Uddhava would be the best person to declare the gopis' prem in the assembly of the Yadavas and the Vrishnis in Dwarka and Mathura, that he would be the most expert at being able to deliver a picture of the Brajadevis, the Brijabasis' love for Krishna. So this is what Uddhava did. Uddhava is such an important key personality throughout this entire Leela of bringing almost Braj to Dwarka or Amud. The queens of Dwarka, when they hear of the Braj Ramani's love for Krishna, then their humility will increase. Krishna will, Krishna can't, well, very easily Krishna can pacify Satyabhama or Mitravinda. He doesn't even need his flute, etc. in Dwarka. But for the queens to appreciate this excellence of the gopis' love is very important. Gurudev often spoke this pastime of when Rohini, Mother Rohini, is speaking about the glories of the gopis in front of to the queens, etc. So what I've done is I've made a summary here, which I could write up about, because as I said at the beginning, I was attempting to make a breakdown of the verses so that we could capture it and be able to reiterate it very simply. So for example, there are 3 verses when Uddhava arrives, and then he's asking questions by the gopis, and there's 4 verses for that. And then there's the loud lament of the gopis. I'm just recapping now the whole chapter, just the chapter 47. And there's these 2 verses where the gopis immediately begin to lament very loudly. And then there are 10 verses of Radharani's Divyanmad, the Chitra Jalpa. And then there are the messages that Uddhava is giving. And then there is the response by the gopis. At first they're angry, and then they're a little bit pacified. And then there's an example of Shukadev Goswami's description physically of the situation. And then there are 5 verses of Uddhava glorifying the prem of the gopis. And then there is 1 verse where Uddhava is offering his deepest respects to the gopis. And then the gopis begin to respect Uddhava. And then Uddhava leaves, and then the Brijbasis are described in 2 verses, and then Uddhava returns to Mathura, and he proclaims their glories in the assembly. So that's a summary of the whole chapter that I've just read. So this brings us to the end of this chapter completely. So to say, really. But I'll just read a couple of things here extra about the astonishing ways of the gopis. This is actually from Govinda Lilamrita, that we talked a little bit about it yesterday. This is separate from... Actually, I think I should just stay with this Bhramara Gita. So that's the end of the chapter. So... Yes. No. But later on, Shashikala, he goes to Dwarka. When they go to Dwarka, he's not just going to say this one time, he's going to say this thousands of times. He's going to repeat this same mood. So it's also in Dwarka that he's actually speaking these messages. It cannot be once. The messages are too profound. And the importance of the gopis being proclaimed as the highest recipients of Krishna's love. So Uddhava tells many times in the assembly of Dwarka, Gurudev has described like that. So I've tried to present this Bhramara Gita and the chapter preceding that, and as simply and as directly as I've written it, without putting too many other things amongst it all. So that's the end of that part. Yeah, this is what I already explained to some degree. Actually, this pastime of killing Kamsa is interesting, because when Krishna goes to Braj, the gopis, of course, are heartbroken, as we've been reading. But when he kills Kamsa, Krishna would always come in front of the gopis for their glorification of him with each demon that he killed. The gopis would glorify him. So when he had killed this huge demon Kamsa, then he was thinking, well, where are my gopis to glorify, this pastime? And at that time, the gopis were in Vrindavan, and they were understanding, actually, that Krishna has just killed Kamsa. The birds, whatever, would tell the gopis exactly what had happened. And they began to weep in separation, because they knew at this point, Krishna will want to see us. He will want to come and have us glorify him for his great heroic deed. And we're not there to glorify him. And they go to the Jamuna and they begin to weep. And those tears fall in the Jamuna. And Krishna, he also leaves the cowherd boys, and he also goes to the Jamuna. And he also begins to weep. So these tears are actually meeting in the Jamuna. The tears of the gopis and the tears of Krishna. And this is the first meeting in separation that actually takes place with the killing of Kamsa. But Krishna cannot go back, because if he goes back, the gopis' height that has been intensified during their separation, they could not let Krishna go again unless they left their bodies. They would leave their bodies if Krishna went away again. That's why he couldn't go back. This is an external reason. This is an external reason. Yes, this is true. Yes. That the armies would come and they would seek out the Brijabasis, who had no defenses at all. They were just Vaishyas. So Gurudev always gives this as the first reason. But actually the internal reason was that Krishna could not go back, because the gopis' prem could not be pacified if he left again. If he left twice, leaving once was kind of okay. They could handle that. But if he came back again, then they couldn't. But what you said is very good that you mentioned that. That Jarasandha, who was battling Krishna at this time, 18 different times, and Krishna, if he'd gone to Vrindavan, then all Jarasandha's friends, etc., would have known that, Krishna, he takes shelter in Braj, will attack Vrindavan, will cause destruction there, and this will hurt Krishna. Of course Jarasandha would have done like that. So Krishna politically couldn't have gone there at that time. There was no way at all that he could have gone. So I didn't know that it was going to finish quite so quickly. I thought I would be able to finish it today, and then I wouldn't speak tomorrow night. I'll actually just speak one more morning on the Kapila Devahuti Samvad, and then I'll leave tomorrow after lunch. So I came only to speak this Bhramara Gita. Now, if anyone would like to make any...
You had two slokas about Govinda Lilamrita. If you're not going to tell anything tomorrow evening, you can send out.
These are very beautiful. I would like to read them. When the gopis cannot see Krishna, they yearn to see him. When they see him, they yearn to touch him. However, when they touch him, they become contrary and angry. This is certainly astonishing. And then the next verse, where there is prem in Vrindavan, we described something this yesterday, Yamuna flows in the opposite way. A very cool wind blows against it. The mood, the nature, everything goes opposite. When they, the Brijvasis, are happy, they cry. When they're sad, they laugh. They go away from Krishna, not towards him. When Krishna wants them, they will go away. And when Krishna doesn't want them, they will come. All things are opposite. This is very strange. This is the mood of Braj. And we've understood now from these talks of Divyan Mad how everything is so contradictory. How is this flood of prem affecting everything in Braj? This is Vrindavan. This is the Vrindavan where we live. We're living under a sort of a material, cloud of conditioned consciousness. But actually the reality is, as we've just been reading, this is the real Braj, just filled with the sweetest sentiments and beauty and love for Krishna. And our objective is to be in the anugatya of these great Brajaramanis. Okay. Anything else? What can we say? Maharaj. Loudly. Loudly.
I was just going to say, and you may have already said it, that Gurudev comments because Uddhava was so dear to Krishna that he wanted him to go to Vrindavan to enroll in the school of Prem with the gopis as the head masters and teachers. That was his purpose, and to educating Uddhava in these higher aspects of Sudha Prem.
Gurudev, he's quoting Gurudev directly. How many times did Gurudev say he went to the school of Vishaka and Lalita to learn these height of prem? So we said this actually right at the very beginning. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments this, that he was a disciple of Brihaspati. He knew everything, but he didn't know about prem. He knew everything about the Brahman, but he didn't know about the prem of the gopis. So this was to complete his education. But when Uddhava came, Gurudev often said many times, he wasn't even qualified to come into the school. You remember? So many times Gurudev is saying like that. But Gurudev discussed this, but there's no actual collected book of this by Gurudev. I was hoping that Vichitri might do that, but she's already got such a huge project. But hopefully at some point we will collect all of Gurudev's lectures and parts about this particular pastime. And so many devotees, Janaki, I'm sure in Hindi, they must have so many also, that we could...
She wants
wants to say something.
Yes, come forward, take the microphone. By the way, just before you start, I had an ulterior motive for speaking this. Actually, I wanted to try to make a collection for Vishaka Kund in Udavkeri. I was there a few months ago, and it's a very beautiful kund, Vishaka Kund, at Udavkeri, where Gurudev loved to go, and he loved the pujari there. And one devotee gave me $1,000, and I matched that also, and we were going to build a ghat, and we ordered the bricks and the concrete and the sand and everything. And then the Jungle Commission, they call it, the Forest Commission, they came and said, no, you're not allowed to build anything here. So we rang the Braj Foundation that does so much work around in Braj. And they said, whatever you do, don't try and do any development near Nandagaon, because this commission is just going to give you a hard time. They've had them in the courts for like 4 or 5 years over different projects. But then I spoke to our Nrsimha Maharaj, and he said, oh, don't worry for that. We'll just do it under the radar, so to speak. So it's still kind of possible to do it. But when you look at that beautiful kund, also in Udavkeri, this is another incompatibility, in a sense, that this separation mood happened. At the same time, the Rasa Leela took place there at Vishaka Kund. It's described that the Rasa Leela took place at this very place in Udavkeri, the same place as the gopis were lamenting. Those moods are there. When you go there, you glorify Vishaka Kund. At the same time, it's Udavkeri. But this Vishaka Kund is such a beautiful deep kund, but it has no gut. And if you want to take bath in there, you have to slide down the mud, you know. It's really unfortunate. And to make a gut, it costs about a couple of $1,000, you know, to do a 16-foot, just a small gut. And I had strong desire, still have, to gradually put guts all around over the years, and we could make it into a... Because huge trees have been planted there by Gurudev already, and they've been nurtured and they're coming up slowly. So it's quite a sort of focus point for our particular Sangha, because I don't know that lots of other Sanghas go there. And Gurudev used to look after that pujari and used to fund all the different trees and so on. So if anybody wants to make any offering for that, then we can build that ghat. And Nrsimha Maharaj assures me that he can do it under the radar. He can do it in a couple of days, or a couple of nights rather, with the workmen from our Govardhan temple. They can just go there with the stuff and quickly bang it up, and once it's up, nobody's going to touch it. I don't know. Because we actually had 4 or 5 mysteries come from Nandagaon itself, and we had a whole meeting there, and we were planning it all out and this and that. I had no idea that it wasn't supposed to be, you know, on the map. That this Jungle Commission was keeping an eye on things. So these mysteries went back to Nandagaon and they talked about it, you know. And Purandar Nrsimha Maharaj has said, well, if you don't use those mysteries, if you use our own mysteries, we can just go there and bang it up. So it would cost a couple of $1,000 for about a 16-foot, 10-step ghat going into the kund. And many devotees and pilgrims, you know, yatris could actually bathe in there comfortably on parikrama. So, oh yeah. Yeah. So,
How could they build that big Rasa Leela platform?
because something was already there, and they sort of like very slowly made it bigger. Sarada has a photograph, very old photograph. What's the date of that? That's an ancient one, of Udavkeri previous to their pujari going there. And they just built that bigger. They just made it bigger, very sort of slowly and quietly. They didn't make a big thing about it. I have no idea why this Jungle Commission has any objection to making a ghat. It's just completely absurd. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. But I was thinking when I was there that this is such a particular personal place of Gurudev. that Gurudev would go there, and he did support the Pujari there, and he did plant all those trees there. And I thought how to honor Gurudev more in, the greater Braj in this way. So. Oh, that is already. When did you last go there? It's incredible. That Gaudiya Pujari, what's his name? Rishikesh Maharaj. He's done amazing, 2 or 3 arms around. It's almost looking like Kusum Sarovar. It's remarkable what he's done. You should see. He's very enthusiastic. Not quite on that level, but really special. Janaki, you should come and speak. As loud as you can.
Open the hole. have said all this, but in the end, they say his heart was very soft, very tender. So don't tell him about the Buddha. His heart is like the example we give is that if there is a very old cloth, which is like almost going to tear off. If it is washed several times or something, and if his heart is like that, so when you wash such a cloth, you wring it very gently so that it doesn't break. So Krishna's heart is also like that. So when you go and tell about us, don't tell him in one go, oh gopis, I spent there and gopis were crying and Nanda Baba were crying and this were crying. No. Slowly and slowly, one by one, not at one time. You tell him all this. So shows the height of love of gopis, that although they are showing all kinds of accusations on this thing and that thing, but in the end they show the extreme love, how much they love Krishna, that they cannot even tolerate a little bit of hurt or anything to his heart. So they are trying to save that. And when Uddhav, he heard all this and his head bowed down, and as Maharaj was saying, that he speaks these verses, 4 or 5 verses. So in that he says, Etam tanubhruto bhuvi gopavadho. He says that on this earth, the life of the gopis is only dhanya, is blessed, because although they are vanachari, they live in a forest, but even then they are better than the city women and us, because they are endowed with adirud bhav. So he is explaining all this in the slok, and the second slok he says is Asamaho Charana Renu, that I bow down to the dust of the lotus feet. So Gurudev used to stress on this, that he said Renu means singular. Renu means singular. He didn't say I will roll down in the dust of all the gopis. No, singular means only Radharani. Singular dust, Renu means only Radharani. And he mentioned that it means because of this he bows down and he accepts their love, height of their love, and he goes back. And as the gopis, they said, slowly, one day, you tell Krishna all this so that his heart doesn't break. So I wanted to say a few more things which I heard from Gurudev, and thank you for hearing, and thank you Maharaj for allowing me to speak. And this is what Bhramara Gita is, and in very simple Brajavasi words, the gopis they sing that Uddho, you will not understand our pain of separation, because you have not been pricked by this. Only those who are pricked by the thorn can understand the pain, not you. You cannot understand, because you always live with Krishna, so you don't understand. But we have been pricked by this thorn of separation, so we know it. You go away from here. You cannot understand it. This is beyond your understanding. And then they start lamenting and saying, oh Uddhav, please go and tell him that one time he was playing his flute and he called us. At that time he needed us. It was his need that he wanted us. And we came, leaving our homes, abandoning our family members, abandoning our services, duties of the household. We came. At that time he wanted us, he needed us. But now is the time when we need him. please go and tell him that now is the time that we need him. And he should come just as we came to him, he should come. So I stop here. It's a very beautiful song in Brajabhasha, and I translated it, a couple of lines, because I knew if I sing, you will not be able to understand the Brajabhasha.
No, but it would be so beautiful. Yeah. Could you sing?
उधो तू क्या जाने जाके कांटा लगे सोई जाने जाके कांटा लगे सोई जाने. Okay, thank you very much for this, and thank you Maharaj for reminding me, reviving all the memories of Gurudev, and remembering all those katha we heard from his lotus lips. Thank you for that. Hare Krishna.
I think it's a very wonderful opportunity, to actually speak this whole 2 chapters
Yes.
for, pleasure of the devotees. I think it's not so often it's spoken just like this.
And this topic was very dear to Gurudev. He used to say that, why Krishna sent Uddhav only? Because he has been regarded as a very highly, respectable, and his words are, have a authority, accepted by everyone. So that is why he sent him. Otherwise, Krishna could have glorified the gopis himself. In Bhagavatam, he has said, Inna pareham nirvadya sanyuja. He has said to gopis that I am indebted to you after the Rasa Leela. But
when he tells Arjuna to declare it boldly.
So, but he sent Uddhav only because Uddhav is accepted as an authority, as somebody whose words will be trusted. And when he goes and sees them, and in Srimad Bhagavatam with these 4 shlokas, when he says Vande Nanda Brajastreena Padarenu Vikshunacha Yasam Punyat Hari Katha Punat whatever, it's their katha is very pure and it will deliver the 3 worlds. When he says that, then it is accepted. But if Krishna says himself, though gopis are very high, they love me so much, then it doesn't carry so much weight. But if it is said by somebody else, and he announces it, then it is accepted as something very high, and their gopis' glories are established more. Okay, Hare Krishna. Jai, 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 Shri Gurudev ki Jai. His Hari, Jai for his Hari Katha. Gurudev ki Hari Katha ki Jai. Jai. His Hari Katha only won the whole world. His Hari Katha won the whole world.
Yes.
Beautiful Katha. Hare Krishna. Thank you for allowing me to speak something and also remembering Gurudev by this.
Hari means spring.
Yes.
Always new, always fresh, and how to get that. Thank you.
Thank you.